Hi, Carolyn. It's good to see you, kind of. I thought I would just make a quick little video here to sort of walk through how I would start tackling these beasts, and maybe seeing it will be a little bit helpful to you. I presume you kind of figured out where everything goes. Pretty much like the Highland pipes, the base section separates the middle and should store like that. The two tenors can stay just where they are. You've got the plug to the bellows, the tube that screws in on the one side, on the bellows side, and then plugs in on the other side. If it comes loose at all, just add some extra hemp like you would with any other joint. They do a pretty good job of sending them out well set up and well hemped and everything, but you always might need some more. So in terms of getting playing, here's what I would do. The bellows can sit in different places on people depending on their build, their size, any number of things. I tend to wear the strap on my arm just above my elbow, and then the waist, some people prefer to have it higher. I mean, it's not uncommon to see a bellows up, around the midsection of your waist, even up onto your ribs. I tend to let it sit a little bit lower. I think that comes from playing the uilleann pipes. They tend to sit a little bit lower. But really, there's no right or wrong. It's just as long as it's comfortable to you and it reaches the pipes well. As long as the tube can reach to the pipes properly, there's no right or wrong. So you can experiment with that in terms of comfort and functionality. Once everything's plugged in there, I'm just going to fill the bag up here. And then I was mentioning that the drones want to sit up on the shoulder. I've got everything going now, the drones and the chanter. So what I'll do is I'll fill the bag and kind of get my arm sort of to the meaty section of the bag, the center of it. And then I'll sort of rest the drones on my shoulder so that they'll sort of coax them into that position for when I'm going to play. And once I've got the bag pretty full, I've got enough air in there that it's honking on me, I'm going to apply some pressure with my bag arm and then get into position. So I need to kind of replenish a little bit while I get it up onto my arm. Then the drones should sit really up on your shoulder. Now if the pressure sags, they're going to sag down too. So you have to keep that pressure up in order to keep them up on the shoulder. So I just kind of hold them here, get the bag full and give it pressure. And then once I maintain that pressure, they stay up there. Now, what you might want to do, though, just to get used to the bellows really are a beast unto themselves. So I would suggest cutting the job in half. Tape over the holes here. I'm not sure I'm doing a very good job of this, but kind of cover the holes over and then worry just about the chanter. So if I do that, well, I didn't do a very good job of plugging them, but there we go. Once the drones are out of the mix, then you can sort of just worry about the chanter alone. And you might even try not even playing a note. Let the chanter just hang there. And then just see if you can get used to the back and forth pressure. So it's just like with the Highland pipes. You're going to squeeze with the bag, and when the bag is running low, then you'll use the bellows to replenish, but you don't want to do both at the same time. So you get... Or you might do it on another note. High A can be, pressure sensitive, so maybe you just do a D or a low A. And what you're going to find with the bellows is the more full stroke you can take. So the tendency when you first start will to be wanting to do a bunch of little pumps because you're kind of frantically feeling like you need to fill the bag. That's normal. But what you're striving for ultimately, once you get comfortable with it, is... Stop this cow from honking. What you ultimately want for your bellows is a full stroke out and a slow full stroke in and full stroke out and full in. There will be occasions maybe where you only want like a half pump or something like that. But in general, you want just a smooth action with the arm, not long strokes rather than a bunch of little strokes, one after the other. Conversely, the other thing you can do is forget about the chanter, because that takes more air, and just play the drone so that you get used to that action of back and forth between the bag and the bellows. So what I would do, and I mentioned in that email, is this is a split stock, so you don't have to take the chanter out on its own and risk the reed being damaged. Up here at the top, you'll notice it separates from the pipe. So you've got this end here, but then your reed is protected inside there. So split stocks are really handy. It's also handy too, like if you were going to get a small pipe chanter, you could unplug it, plug the small pipe chanter into the same set of pipes, and then you don't have to worry about two different instruments completely. So anyway, I've got a cork here, and I just corked off the end of the stock, and I'm just going to worry about the drones now. So you can practice tuning them this way. You can practice just getting these long, slow, steady strokes. Obviously it's taking a different amount of air, but it's getting you used to it. So again, I'm going to put them up on my shoulder. When I feel that there's enough air, I might adjust a little bit. Now, the drones don't take very much air, so you're going to be able to ride the air in the bag for a very long time here. The chanter takes most of the air. But these pipes are set up so that the drones are really, really air efficient. So like on one pump of the bellows, I can go for a really long time with this. But it can still help you get a sense of where the bag should sit under your arm, where the drone should sit on your shoulders. So you can do that as well. There was one other thing I was going to mention that is escaping me right now. I can't think of what it was. There was something else I was going to say. It will come to me eventually. Not to mess with your mind too much, but some people find this approach helpful, and I found it helpful when I was learning to play bellows pipes. You can think of it like traditional Highland pipes, where you use the bag, and then this is your breath with the bellows to replenish the bag. But some people like to think of it where the bag is actually your breath, because with the bellows pipe, they're pressure sensitive, so you're really using your arm to control that a lot. So it's almost like this is your blowing, your nice steady, and then the arm here almost becomes the quick little movement of the bag. You know, on the Highland, if that makes sense, on the Highland pipes, you're blowing and just using your arm on the bag to take a little respite. Whereas with this, you're really doing a lot of work on the bag, and you're just taking a little respite with the bellows. So almost like using your left arm to blow, if that makes sense. I know it's kind of confusing. There's an article by another pipe maker that I read once that I found helpful, and I'll send that on to you too. So that's a crash course in this. They're wonderful pipes. I hope you love them. As with any kind of pipe, you know, the chanter might need some tape. I found with mine in this hot weather, the high hand, the left hand was staying pretty stable, but the low hand was sharp. So I had a little bit of tape on the hole, so you can tune just like you would on a Highland pipe. Use a little piece of tape to bring them down. But once they're set, you'll find, you know, once you start to get comfortable with them, they'll stay in tune pretty well. Like, you'll pick the pipes up, you'll tune them, and you'll play for a half an hour, and the next day you'll pick your pipes up, and after a few minutes of playing and they've warmed up, they're right back in tune. They don't really move a lot, which is one of the beauties of bellows pipes. I tuned these pipes 2 days ago, and they're still pretty darn close in tune, so that they sound pretty good. So it's really nice, and once you get comfortable with them, they'll do the same for you. So let me know if you have more questions. We can Skype, we can do anything, but hopefully this is helpful. Hope to talk to you soon. Bye.